Hey everyone, it's me, Angel Benton, and it is time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and a few reality shows on the side. And we're going to be doing daytime television today because we're talking about Young and the Restless. So, Young and the Restless this week, we didn't see a lot of forward motion on too many stories, but there were a couple that were of note. The main one actually was probably, I would say, Ashley and Ravi. You see them getting closer on their business trip to New York, and the guy that was trying to buy Fenmore's a while ago, I think his name was Benjamin Hockman, he was trying to get into Ashley's pants, basically. Like, he was really coming on to her strong. But he kept, he had his phone in his ear and blah, blah, blah. And she kind of blew Ravi off the first time that Benjamin Hockman was interested, and Ravi's like, I totally understand. He's a titan of business, blah, blah, blah. But the second time when they went to the opera, she's like, no, I've got plans. I'm sorry. And then he comes and tries, like, why are you going to be spending time with this IT goob? And he's like, really? Because people like me are the reason you have a business. I think that both of those sides are a little bit oversimplified for the reality of the show. I think that it's possible to have a business without IT people, and it's possible that the IT people could be condescending, but for the sake of argument with, between the two of them, that makes sense that, the argument that Ravi made. And, it just, totally won Ashley over. She was like, you just keep surprising me. It was really good. And they did share one kiss, and it was a really sweet love story. So I'm enjoying watching that unfold. So Victor Newman, he dropped off the face of the earth this week. We saw him on Monday, and that was it. Now, I know in real life he's on that book tour, but on the show, we don't know where he went, and his phone is not accepting voicemails, so we have no idea what's going on with him. We don't know if it has anything to do with Chloe and or Adam. We don't know, if he just wants, if it's a business thing, if he just wants to be by himself. We don't know, but I do know that Nikki, um, she basically tried to get Scott to stop writing the autobiography. She tried to bribe him. She was, well, in her own way. She was like, I'm going to give you what Victor promised you, and I'm going to give you a little bit extra. So, because, she was like, if this book comes out, it's going to be horrible for the family, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know if he ended up taking the money or not, actually. Um, Maybe he took the check, but he didn't cash it. I don't know. It's a little weird. Sorry, I've been up all night watching soaps. Okay, so at the end of the week, we found out that Scott is actually some sort of secret agent, or was a secret agent, or was working with a secret agency, or something like that. But it was a little bit kind of weird. And then we saw a preview for next week. Okay, so remember how a couple weeks ago I said that there was one plot point that was dropped that usually Young and the Restless lets their plot points stay dropped for quite some time, and then they come back. They always come back to it and close them. But this one is getting closed next week, apparently. And it has to do with Bella and her paternity and who her father is. And we know it's Billy. So apparently she leaves this Dear John letter to both Kevin and Billy. And she says that Bella might be yours. Well, first of all, Kevin, has already had that DNA test done, and they said she's not his, so I don't know what. I don't know. I mean, but in all fairness, if I was going to get a DNA test, General City is the last place that I would go because anybody can switch a DNA test. Apparently anybody can just walk into the hospital and just change some results. How many times does that happen? Right? Like with Abby and Kyle and Summer and all those people. Like and I would never. If I was pregnant and I didn't know who the father was, I'd be like, "Can I get a ticket to Tahiti because I need to do a DNA test?" Like I would leave the country. I would not. I mean, it would be ridiculous because honestly, that's the same on all of the soaps. Switching a DNA test is so easy on all of the soaps. It's happened on all four of them. So that's a little, cliche. It's a little bit trite, right? Okay, so there's another plot point that I want to see closed because it wasn't ever closed. Remember Crazy Daisy? Remember Crazy Daisy, who was the mother of Lucy, Daniel's daughter, right? So Crazy Daisy, remember she went to Fairview, which is the big mental hospital, and they said that she was checked out by her mother, Sheila Carter. Remember Sheila? If you don't remember her from Young and the Restless, you might remember her from Bold and the Beautiful because she was a baddie on both shows. But they said she was checked out by her mom, and that was the last we saw of either one of them. So that's another open plot point that I would be interested to see how that gets closed because it's been quite a few years now since that happened. So I'm thinking pretty soon they're gonna be looking to close that. They might have Sheila come back. They might have. But what was weird? What was weird was that last time we saw Sheila on Young and the Restless, she had undergone surgery to look like Phyllis, right? Which they could easily do and have Gina Tognoni play both parts. She could easily do that. That would be no problem, right? That would actually be kind of be fun for her, right? But then we saw her again and she looked like Sheila. So, but I think we saw her on Bold and Beautiful. So that's something that was never cleared up that I need cleared up. So, but that's an example of a plot point that the show usually leaves open, and then they come back around years later, and then they close it. Um, so I'll be very curious to see how that pans out. Let's see, who else? What else was going on this week? Oh, so Juliet, I love me some Juliet. First of all, because there's this fierce chick at work named Juliet she speaks Chinese, not Japanese, she doesn't speak Japanese. She speaks Cantonese, Mandarin, and Malaysian, and she's fierce. And this chick, Juliet on Young and the Restless, she speaks Japanese, but, I don't know if she does in real life or not because it looks a little. I mean, the Japanese that they used was very basic, and she was okay. But like when Kane was trying to speak Japanese, it was the worst. That was awful. That was like horrible, the absolute worst. Um, yeah. So she is making a good start at Brash and Sassy. She's hit the ground running. She's like, I've got this marketing material. Here you go. She's handing them out to Victoria and Billy and Kane. And Kane's like, please don't ever mention Tokyo ever. And she's like, it's forgotten. And so we haven't really seen any clues that she would be the type to go blabbing about something like that. But having said that, there's always this tension, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen with Juliet? Is she gonna say something? She's got to say something. Is she gonna say something? Like there's that is she or isn't she type of vibe because we don't really know her that well yet, so we don't know how she's gonna be. So I'm very curious to see how that will pan out. And then the last thing was Reed. Reed got this gorgeous, amazing, huge car from Victor for his birthday, and Victoria made him give it up, and he was really upset about that. Um, but then his girlfriend Zoe, who is the meme queen, her little friend Kendall kind of made her move on him this week in the movie theater. So I'll be very curious to see how that goes too. Anyways, thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter at Angel and Instagram at Angel Benton. You can hashtag YR to talk Young and the Restless, or you can hashtag GH to talk General Hospital. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful night. Peace out. Wubba wubba wubba.